You may have heard the whispers of guardians gathering in the shadows, exploring the mysteries of this world and the worlds which surround us. We are all in search of truth. Sometimes we need to focus that search, focus that fire. And so we come together. Join us. Join the discussion. Welcome to Focused Fire Chat. Welcome to the 7th behind-the-scenes episode of Focus Fire Chat. This is your host, Blue Crew 86. We also have with us our own master of social media, the one and only Green-Eyed Music Lover. Green, I hope you're doing. How has, I guess it's been one day since we recorded our last one, so how's your day been?
I've gained 7 light levels in the game, so it's been good.
You've been very busy.
I have. I'm up to 547 at this point, so almost at that 550 range where I feel like I can do the raid pretty well without like struggle busing the whole time. So it's been good.
We also have with us our special guest for the chat tonight, Zeon Remnants. Zeon, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I don't have as much luck as Green-Eyed because my power engrams ain't dropping for anything, but...
Oh, you and I are on the same boat on that one, so...
Bungie needs to fix that. It's like dropping at my light level or below. I'm like, what is the point?
Yeah.
Well, just in case anyone out there doesn't already know, can give us a few ideas where we can find you. I'll be including the links obviously in the show notes, but where can we find you on the interwebs?
Sure. So everything is Zeon Remnants. I have the Twitter. Twitter.com, / Zeon Remnants. I have my YouTube channel, same thing, youtube.com / Zeon Remnants. And then also, if you would like to support my channel, you can go ahead and you can buy a Destiny-related t-shirt. Those are available at designedbyhumans.com /shop / you guessed it, Zeon Remnants.
Nice.
By the way,
consistency is
really
key.
Good. Yes, branding. Branding is great.
Exactly.
Well, so let me run through our intro just real quick before I hand the controls over to Zeon to have the chat for tonight. But as many of you already know, Focus Fire Chat is a cross-community gathering where the intent is to offer a week-long in-depth view of a particular subject from within the lore of Destiny and other games. This chat begins every Tuesday morning and runs until the following Tuesday, with topics decided by the group via a poll that begins every Friday and ends on the Tuesday morning of the new chat. Please be sure to give us some support to the other podcasts in the Guardian Radio Network, found over on our website at focusfirechat.com. The Behind the Scenes series is a way for us to step out of the world of game lore and actually talk about other aspects of the community that we're so proud to be a part of. It also allows us the chance to sit down and really get to chat with well-versed individuals from within that aspect of the community, giving us a chance to really explore the topic. This chat is going to be discussing the often hidden process behind cosplaying and machinima, along with probably some other things as well. With that being said, I'm going to let Zeon give us a bit of an introduction to how he does the magic that he does. So Zeon, would you be so kind as to educate us on that?
Sure. So I guess we'll start with cosplay. It's one of those things that, there's no, as far as I know, school to go to or anything like that. It's kind of one of those things that you have to learn by watching, videos on YouTube or finding people in your area that do it and making like a group or like, then of course you have 501st and the mercenaries, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. However, to join those groups, normally you need to already have cosplay experience because they have very strict requirements on their actual group membership. So for me, my kind of like how I started doing cosplay, my favorite prop or cosplay creator is Evil Ted.
Nice.
He's awesome. He's one of my favorites. And of course, by default, since I like Evil Ted, I like Punish Props Bill Duran. And also, I've been looking at Kamui Cosplay recently. She does some intricate, amazing stuff. So that's one of those things that, I do things differently than other people. Once you have like your process, you start developing things that make it easier for you. And it's also similar with making machinima. There's nowhere to go to learn how to make machinima. My first couple episodes of Team Titan were like really rough, and I plan to go back and like redo season 1 as like a definitive special edition. Try not to George Lucas it up kind of thing.
Right.
So
we appreciate that effort.
Mhm.
yeah, more aliens in the background. No. But it's so most of the stuff I do is stuff that you have to learn on your own, learn by watching others, or try and find people interested in the same thing you are in your community and do it that way. So that's kind of my deal, I guess. Creativity is my life, basically. Anything creative, writing, drawing, making stuff, whatever, that's my whole thing.
Nice. So who kind of inspired you, let's say start with Machinima, who inspired you to like want to go and do that? Because it's still a very small community in comparison, especially in the US.
Definitely, especially in Destiny. There's not many Destiny Machinima. The most known, obviously, is Destiny Cops. And then after that, the next Machinima, the next most popular, is Fireteam Weasel. And actually, I got inspired to do a Destiny Machinima because of them. Of course, I love Red versus Blue. Like behind me in my office, I have every season of Red versus Blue. How had happened was about a year or so ago, I was writing this story. It was really dark and everything, and I was like, you know what? I want to write like something funny-ish, and like maybe I want to do it in a machinima or something. And like we were gonna do Star Wars: The Old Republic. We were gonna do a story there, and then I watched Fireteam Weasel. I watched Fireteam Weasel one time, and I just watched however many episodes were out at the time. I think it was like 3 episodes. I was like, you know what? I love Destiny. I was like, I've been a beta tester for for Destiny 1 and 2. Like, I've been playing Destiny for years. It's like, there's not that much Destiny stuff. And honestly, I don't like Destiny Cops that much. So I know like that's unpopular, but it's not my thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try a Destiny. So definitely Fireteam Weasel was the inspiration to specifically do a Destiny machinima. And then the cool thing was when I started writing it and doing it, I commented on Digital Curse as the creator of Fireteam Weasel. I left a comment. I was like, I'll never hear from him. But he like commented back the next day. I was like, hey, how did you do this? And he was like, oh, this is how I did it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then when Team Titan came out, which is my machinima, he started watching it. And then he would comment on my video, and we went back and forth. And now the cool thing is that me, him, and another machinima creator, his name is Tempest Knight, he makes Rift and From the Ashes, which are like, I know you guys love lore. If you guys really love, like, want to see like lore-driven stories, watch his stuff because it's insane. The stuff in his show. But now the 3 of us have created this little bubble of like machinima in Destiny, and we've actually been crossing over for a couple months now. And we announced on our podcast the Destiny Machinima universe, which is basically like a Marvel universe, but it's for our shows. And so now it's like evolved into this like next thing of like interweaving stories, and like we have like a timeline of everybody's stuff to not interfere, and like we have all these things going on. It's pretty cool. Like it started this little idea I had, and now like the person that inspired me to do this, we actually just had like a 3-hour conversation with Digital before I came on here because we're discussing the special that we're going to be doing. So, but anyway, in short, babbling now. The short answer to your question is Fireteam Weasel inspired me to make Team Titan.
Nice. So you're actually doing your podcast because you have a podcast that you do as well on top of all of this. Like you're kind of busy, man.
Yeah. Well, the podcast is only every couple months, and it basically rotates around the 3 machinima channels. So like the first time it was on mine, then it'll go over to Digital's, then Tempest, and back to mine. So we've only done 4 episodes so far. We do it like every 2 or 3 months. This recent one, since we have the Discord now, the Destiny Machinima Discord. They sent us questions that we answered on that, and then we had the machinima writers, and then the owner of the Discord, who's obviously, since she's the Discord manager, she like loves all the shows, so she was on, and so we had like this little discussion, and we answered questions and stuff. So yeah, it's not a frequent thing, but every couple months we like to put out a podcast just answering fan questions, stuff like that.
That's awesome. One of the questions I've always had when it comes to trying to do machinima and Destiny is how have you done it? Are you purely doing it at D1? Because the glitch I don't know if there's a glitch you can use to get rid of your weapon in D2. Is there?
There is from in our bubble.
Mm-hmm.
From the Ashes is the only D2 machinima right now. We're going to be in D2. Me and Digital will be in D2 eventually. But I know that right now the only way... there used to be a glitch with the item manager where you could like unequip and then you would have... but they patched that. I don't know why.
Dang it.
And now the new glitch, I think I want to ask Tempest about it. It has to do with submachine gun for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah, the switching between dual submachine guns.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so you have a sub in your primary, and then I guess it's secondary. I don't know what they call them now, but it's basically a special weapon in your primary weapon. And if you just sit there and you hit for Xbox, it's Y. You just basically sit there and hit it back and forth. It'll remove it.
All right,
but it takes a lot of like. I mean, you do it for a couple minutes, and your thumbs I'm like, oh my god, my thumb's gonna fall off. Like.
It's just like
I'm surprised that there's no feature in Destiny. Like I think in Halo they eventually added it. Like
it was reach,
camera feature.
Well, and then they had it in PvP. They've had it for a long time. You can go back and watch your match in PvP.
Yeah, what was that called? Director view or whatnot?
Yeah, I think it was like theater mode or something.
Yeah,
but they would record the whole fight, and you could. Because that was when you could change. It was I was just actually on it. Honestly, I was actually thinking about this earlier today because I was trying to figure out, like memory wise, the amount of memory that has to take is just immense. Because what they actually did was with theater mode was in PvP, they would let you not just like relive your moments, but you could actually go into a monitor mode, and you could go around the entire map. And like see everything that's going on during that particular. It was crazy when they introduced it, but yeah, I'm interested that they haven't had that and it's not because there hasn't been a clamoring for it.
Oh my gosh! Every other month you see something on Reddit, people begging for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, D1 definitely easier. It's sword glitch is not that hard to do, so that's a good thing. But yeah, D2, I hear it's a lot more pain. I'm like, the way my story's planned out, I won't be in D2 until Season 4 of Team Titans, so I got a ways to go anyway. So by then, maybe they'll fix something.
When you're writing out the episodes for them, because your episodes, you have a pretty good-sized episode each time. You're about, 15 minutes each episode or so?
They vary. The last 3 episodes have been more than 20 minutes. At first, they were kind of like... I'd probably go through my playlist now and I can tell you. But they were roughly around 15 minutes. One episode was just a small little thing, was about 5 minutes. That was around the time I moved. So that was just because of that. But the recent episodes have been over 20 minutes. Actually, the last episode we did, episode 8, which is called Siva Smackdown, was about 20 full content, 24 minutes. So it was the longest episode we've done. And I didn't realize it was going to be that long until... we're doing voice recordings, and the main character, Braun, is like, hey, it's a long episode. I'm like, no, it's not that long. It's a lot of fighting. He's like, that's pretty long. And then by the time I edit, I was like, oh, man, this is 24 minutes. I'm like, holy...
So are you doing... So you have everybody record all the voice acting first, and then are you having... Who do you get in to record the actual machinima, the acting?
Right now, most of the body actors are the voice actors of the characters they play. We have, since moving over to the Discord now, got a couple more PS4 body actors that, and they actually are going to be getting their own parts. One of them has already, but I have a little group right now. I only have about 5 people. Most of the body actors on our Discord is Xbox, because that's where Fireteam Weasel and From the Ashes are on Xbox. So I need more PS4 people, especially for next season. There's a lot of characters.
Which is an uncommon problem for Destiny, ironically. As much as they push all the PS4 stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll take it. I'll take Xbox. I'll.
They're pushing for me to get an Xbox. I'm like,
it's a good investment, dude. It's a great investment.
Yeah, I was like, I'll probably get one during Black Friday because I probably will get an Xbox One X because like right now my machinima is on my PS4 Pro. So if I were going to switch to Xbox, I'd have to get something similar that the quality maintains the same. It maintains the same quality.
True. Totally true. Nice. It's just when you're writing the scripts, because you're writing all the scripts yourself, or are you team writing?
No, the Team Titan is all me.
Okay.
It's 100% me. The team writing comes with the actual kind of like where all our plots are going to converge to, which is I say converge, the special that we're going to be doing in a couple years called Convergence. But that's the most team writing I've done is with Tempest and Digital is getting this crossover and it's this huge like multi-thing document because like we have characters from all three shows and like where do they go, what do they do, and yeah, we actually earlier today we had like a meeting about that. It's a couple hours long, like trying to hammer out the final act of it. But
Nice.
no, Team Titan is all 100% my insanity.
Okay, so what was the inspiration for Team Titan? Besides the awesome name that reminds me so much of the actual Teen Titans.
Yeah, that was a problem too. Like if you look up Team Titan, Teen Titan comes up, which is highly irritating.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point,
you're not competing with anything or at all.
Yeah, I was like, come on. I was like, at one point, going to change the show to Fire Team Titan, so like, hopefully, it would come up better. I don't know if I'm going to do that still, maybe next season, but you have to actually type in Team Titan Machinima if you're not subscribed to my channel for it to pull up. But anyway,
Oh, dang.
it's annoying.
Yeah.
But the idea at the start was the Ghost Guardian dynamic in D1 sucks. Like, I wish it was more like we talked about Borderlands before we went live, and like I wish it was more like Claptrap and like your character or something like that, like a bickering back and forth, and we never really get that. The most we get of that is in D2 with Osiris and his ghost. Like that's the most bickering you see between a ghost and a guardian, really.
Right.
Because our guardians never really talk in either D1 or D2. They have very few lines. So like that was the idea at first. I was like, oh, well, you know what? Like it would be funny if like if like the main character guardian was like this average player and like his ghost is like an to him and he tries to get him killed all the time and like they're bickering back and forth. And so I actually voiced the main character's ghost. His name is Kenji, and the main character, Brun, is a good friend of mine. Actually, met him playing Star Wars: The Old Republic many years ago. And our bickering in the show is kind of like our bickering in real life. So like, it's pretty funny to me that like I try and inject as much real life stuff as possible. Like a lot of the things that characters say is stuff that their voice actors say in real life. It's like one of those weird, like one of my friends, my best friend for 10 years, like he has a weird way of saying stupid. And he says stupid, and I always made me laugh. And I was like, I'm like, I'm gonna write a character for you, and like I'm gonna like put that in there. And now it's like, the main thing that the character like says is he likes to call people, stupid. But it's one of those
in his own way.
In his own way, yeah. And there's actually levels of stupid that, and we made that up. We like made that up back in high school, and now it's in the show because like he promoted the main character from stupid to ha stupid. And so you see his little head like go up this bar, like up to the next level.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was the main idea. I wanted a better dynamic between Ghost and Guardian. That was what interested me.
That's awesome. I kind of want like a sassy ghost. Like I do enjoy watching a lot of the role players on Twitter. I follow quite a few of them, and I love watching their interactions because you get to see them flesh out these characters in a way that you wouldn't see in game.
Yeah.
Like, the one I'm really kind of following right now is one of the Marasov role players, and I wish they would be able to tell those kind of stories, but it's nice that you get to do that through your machinima between the Ghost and the Guardian, because you're like you said, you don't get to see that. Are we mad at the Ghost? Is there any reason for? I mean,
yeah.
I would be kind of pissed off if I was sleeping and something woke me up, because that's kind of normal life for me at this point. My dog is doing that constantly. But if a ghost did that, I mean, what kind of repercussions would you really have?
It was like every time I write a new character, I always think, what is this person's ghost like? And like, how is their relationship? I think it's one of those funny things. Like especially the main cast of Teen Titan, their relationships with their ghosts are way different. You have the Guardian Raven and her ghost Shelly, and Shelly is like just a complete jerk to everyone and likes to use horrible words to like talk to people, and then Raven just wants to kill everything. So they have like this double team of like kind of in their own way. And then like Falcon and Newt. Falcon's like the tryhard, and then Newt is like a strategic ghost, and he like plots everything out. And then you have Brun and Kenji, and then Kenji's always trying to get Brun killed, and he's just like, I'll resurrect you, it's fine, like, what's the big deal? Like, and Brun's like, dying hurts, and like stuff like that. So it's one of those things. And we got another character name. His name is Slaker. He's on another team, and he's again based off a guy I know, and he voiced his own character. And it's in real life, the guy's name is Jose, but he has a really thick country accent, or southern accent, however you want to call it. And so, again, one of those funny things where I was like, it'd be funny, Slaker? I'm like, what if your ghost speaks Spanish? And so, like, so, like, you have Slaker, and you have Juan the ghost, and Slaker is, like, really southern, and his ghost speaks nothing but Spanish, and, like, it tripped everyone out. Because he mentions it, like, he's like, oh yeah, my ghost has a funny accent. And then, like, when his ghost appears in the next episode, he's, like, talking to him in Spanish, and he understands him 100%. So it's one of those funny things, like, real life, again, putting into the show. So, like, this is the story. So, like, we're playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I've known Slaker for, like, years, and we're talking about where we live, and I find out that he lives, like, an hour from me in Florida, right? I was like, oh, dude, like, add me on Facebook, like, whatever. So, like, we're still playing Star Wars: Old Republic. I get a friend request from a guy named Jose Reyes. I was like, who the hell? And I was like, I'm on this headset with Slaker. I said, Slaker, I was like, are you a big Mexican? He was like, yeah, I'm a big Mexican. And I was like, oh, awesome. Like, I'm like, do you speak Spanish? He goes, no, I don't speak Spanish.
So, wait, is he the one who voices the Spanish ghost then?
He voices the Guardian, Slaker. He voices himself. So his regular accent is his Guardian's accent. Okay. And actually, the guy that you met at Guardian Con, the guy that was with me, Marlon, he voices Juan the Ghost. He's Honduran, so he does the Spanish for the ghost. Nice. He's very anal about his Spanish too. He's like, he'll do a line, he'll be like, no, that's not right, do it again. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You have subtitles, no one cares. He's like, no, I have to do it again. I was like, okay, fine.
I mean, I can kind of relate. I had to play a character that spoke Spanish part of the time during a show, and I am not fluent. I grew up in an area where everybody was pretty much fluent, but I am not. And so I was one of those people as well, like constantly checking and going over and over and over and over and driving people crazy with my lines. It was great. But yeah, so the story came together because of a lot of like real life moments with you and your buddies. Do you ever have things that you see other people do, or you see inspiration from outside of just your friend group? Or is it just mainly like, hey, this is us?
No, I mean, I love Star Wars, and we do a lot of Star Wars references. Like, there's a line in episode 1 where Rasputin's talking to Kenji, and Kenji like translates for his Guardian, and his Guardian's like, "Your Russian's terrible," and then Kenji's like, "I'm not fluent over a million forms of communication," or something like that, like a C-3PO reference,
right?
And then and then what else we have? Like in episode 2, I think it is. The ghost is like, hey, in 3 seconds, Shanks are going to come out of this vent. And Brun's like, how do you know that? He's like, oh, like, I'm a Jedi. Like, that's how I know, Stuff like that. Like, and then there's, like, some anime references here and there, as I'm a big weeb. And, stuff like that. I like to, like, just inject little things here and there. And then in episode 7, we introduced a sergeant character, so that's clearly, like, a red versus blue reference. Because I had this... I made a joke about it and became a real thing. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if there was, like, a Guardian boot camp and, like, all new Guardians went? There was, like, this sergeant that just wanted to, like, teach you how to be a guardian, and then I was thinking like, what would the lessons be? And I was like, oh my god, lesson number 1 is how to die and revive. That's hilarious. So like in episode 7, like you get introduced to Sergeant, and he's training these kindergartens, and that's what they're called in the script, kindergarten 1 and 2.
Nice.
And he's like, and I voiced Sergeant, which is hilarious. So he's like, all right, lesson number 1, die and revive. And they're like, how do you do that, Sarge? He's like, I'll show you. He universal remotes the one guy and kills him. And then, actually, it was funny because he universal remotes the second one. The first one was overkill. Like, and this is one of those funny things where, like, in the process of making it, like, someone has a genius idea. So we're like in, I can't remember what the map in D1's called, but it's one of the maps that you can drive a tank in. It's on Earth. I can't think of it right now.
Oh, yeah.
Shockyard or
yeah, it's
Shock
the
something.
really like one of the only really big ones.
Yeah, and there's like this little building in the middle. It's kind of partially open, and there's like stairs and stuff. So like, there's a turret like right where this conversation's taking place, where Sergeant's telling them, "Yeah, you have to die 100 times. Like, give me 100 reps, right?" And initially, he was just kind of shotgun the kindergarten, but we're like the guy who's doing the kindergarten. He's looking. He's like, there's a turret behind you, right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh! I'm like, that's hilarious. So like, instead of him shotgunning the first one, he like jumps up to the top, and he's like, what is he doing up there? He hops in the turret, and he's like, get trained, Guardian. He just plows into him with turret, like just blast him to death with turret blast. It's so funny. And then the second lesson is how to stay alive. So like, he has like all these thralls that he just like lets loose on the Guardians they have to run away from.
Can you imagine like having to actually have somebody teach all Guardians how to do what they do?
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is how you run a heroic event. I know a lot of veterans who still can't do this. One of the guys that body acts on the kindergartens, he wrote me something on Facebook. He wrote this little script, and it was like lesson 14, how to make friends in the tower. And it was like sergeants with the kindergartens. He was like, all right, this is how you make friends in the tower. You got to go up to them, and you got to run around in circles around them. And then if they like, what is it? It's like, then if they start emoting, you emote with them. You start a dance party, and then you got to keep crouching up and down around them. And after that, you made a friend or something like that. And it was like, like one of those weird things in D1 that you would do, like when you see a guardian of the tower, you'd like start crouching near them or something.
Right, yeah. The combo lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's funny. We did a conga line at Guardian Con. But, yeah, cosplay conga. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
Speaking of cosplay, I want you to talk about this cosplay you did at Guardian Con that we saw.
Yeah, so I decided, so last year when I went to Guardian Con, was the first time I brought my props. I had Destiny props that I brought. And my goal for this year, Guardian Con, was to do a full armor. And I based it off my armor in D1 that I used to wear, which is the Prison of Elders armor, the Titan one, with the airplane wings.
The platypus.
I love that helmet. Yeah, the weird, whatever. It's just the weirdest armor set. But I love it, because it's so strange, and like... I love going on the sparrow and jumping and like putting my arms out. It's like, oh, I'm aerodynamic. But anyway, so yeah, I started working on the helmet like right after Guardian Con 2017, and then in September of that year of 2017, I bought my house, and so I moved and everything, and like I kind of just got pushed to the back. And then when January came around of this year, I had like a little like a couple months of like depression or whatever, so it got pushed back again. And then I looked, and I was like, man, Guardian Con is coming up, and I have like 3 months to do this. So I just crammed it every day after work. I got this armor done, and I had to learn on the way because I never did like a full body thing before. So that was a huge challenge, and I had just like tons of reference material scattered about. Like, I actually have a workshop in my house. I have a sunroom, and it's fully air conditioned, everything. But it's my workshop, and I mean that in my living room was a mess because I was running out of room. But there was a 3-month cram to do that, and then I didn't finish the armor officially until 4:00 in the morning, the Saturday of Guardian Con, like in my hotel. I'm like finishing painting and weathering and adding silver details and stuff, and like. I'm like, oh, I hope I don't damage anything in the hotel room that I have to pay for. But yeah, and then even so, I finished at 4 in the morning, got a couple hours sleep, and then we got in the car and brought everything up. But yeah, that was kind of one of those. I wish I planned it better kind of things. And I plan to upgrade stuff for next year that I didn't get to do fully or one I'm not too happy with or whatever. But yeah, and then the gun I was using, my scout rifle, was actually the first prop I ever made. It's not the first prop I ever made, but the first like official one I ever made. That's what I was toting around with. I made that a couple years ago.
So, what kind of materials do you prefer to use when you're doing your prop building first? Do you work in plastics or?
It depends. Like a lot of the couple Destiny props I've made are modified Nerf guns, and just for the reason that I like when they, I don't know, I just like having a prop that shoots. I think it's fun. So like the Iron Wreath I made shoots, the Drake's Promise shoots. I'm actually making a Monte Carlo for a commission that'll.
Nice.
I found a gun I want to use that'll shoot, a Nerf gun. So I like the modding part of it. I mean, even on those guns, there's still a lot of like additional fabrication that gets made. But my main thing that I like to use is EVA foam.
Okay.
Which is like those little jigsaw mats that you see, or they come in rolls. Like you can buy that like a rolling, not like a rolling mat, but it's hard to explain. You'll see them like at sports stores or Ross or whatever.
Right, for like workout gym type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as long as it's flat on one side, like I'll buy it, and store it for use. But yeah, foam is my favorite thing. It's like you can like burn it and like harden it and cut it easily and do all kind of crazy stuff to it. It's really cool.
Okay, so do you ever get like weird looks for buying a ton of like the foam at the hardware store or the sporting goods store?
No, I think the like weirdest thing that's ever happened to me, like while prop shopping, was like I was making a lightsaber one time, and I'm like in Home Depot, like putting PVC pipes together that don't go together. Like if you're doing plumbing, and the Home Depot guy's like, "Do you need help?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay." He's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, just I'm working it out." He's like, "Okay," and yeah, stuff like that.
Just like putting like a 1/2-inch pipe with a 3/4-inch pipe.
Yeah, just like.
And he's like, what the heck are you doing? That's awesome.
So, are you in the right area?
Right?
Yeah, like. Yeah. What kind of plumbing do you have?
Yeah. Who did your plumbing is more important.
I'm like trying to see if like long like pipes fit in for like the blade and like swinging it around and.
So how long does it take you, say, to make a lightsaber? I know that maybe like a slightly more simple one depending on how you do the hilt and everything, but how long would it take you to modify, say, PVC pipe and with the heating element or adding the different pieces to it to make a prop that you like?
I mean, like, it depends on how difficult you want to make it. I mean, realistically, you could make a simple lightsaber in like a couple hours sitting if you have the materials with you and you have the right tools and everything. So it just depends on how intricate you want to do it. Like my Iron Wreath, for example, that I made is literally a Nerf gun, and Iron Wreath has that long barrel. Right. And you just cutting off part of the old barrel on the Nerf gun, adding a PVC pipe that fits and that the darts still fit through. And then I made like the little wolf's heads out of foam, and I painted them. And then the longest thing that took to paint on that was like the iron tree that's on the side of the gun. And then I bought like little black letters for like the Hake symbol and stuff like that. I mean, that realistically, like I could do that in like a couple days with painting and stuff. So it just depends, My scout rifle took way longer because there was a lot of foam added, and not only that, but I was learning how to make props. So it just depends. I mean, you can do something in a sitting, roughly. Depending, like a lightsaber is not that difficult, depending on what you're doing. But
right,
most of the time, the biggest amount of time, not I want to say wasted, but spent, is like waiting for stuff to dry. And making sure stuff's painted properly before you seal it, and then giving that time to dry before you add another coat and stuff like that. So it just depends on what you're working with.
Right. So you said you made a scout, you made the Iron Wreath, you have a lightsaber.
made Drake's Promise that
Right.
that's been signed by almost every Destiny YouTuber you could think of, and that's going to be getting raffled off next year at my booth at Guardian Con for charity for St. Jude's, which is going to be cool. I recently did Saiyan armor for the anime festival in Orlando. I did 2
saw
sets.
that.
Did you see that?
Uh-huh.
That was a last minute thing. Those were like super easy to make. Like I banged them out like in a couple days.
Nice.
And like stuff like that, Saint armor is not hard, and you can find templates online for Saint armor too. It's pretty common like cosplay thing. I've done my Titan armor. Actually, the funny thing was that I forgot that the first prop I ever made was in high school, and it was for like a classmate. He paid me for it, and I forgot completely about it until like I connected with him a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Hey, like I see that you're making props now." He's like, "I still have that lightsaber." I was like, "Do you really?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he sent me a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I completely forgot!" Like it was just like I just repainted like a Count Dooku lightsaber or something, and I made it like gold and like I think it was brown or green accents or something like that.
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh, I would love to like see this in person, just to like take pictures with it, make a video about it or something." But yeah. And then I did Ghost recently. Bungie or whoever, I don't know who makes it for Bungie, but they've come out with these little vinyl ghosts.
Mhm.
They're like $14, and they're amazing because like I can make any ghost from it. So like I was commissioned to do the D1. I think it was the Iron. What was the last expansion called?
Rise of
Iron. The
The
D1
Siva one?
Rise of Iron, not the Siva one, but the Dead Orbit Ghost in that had like
nice.
these huge like crown things at the top. So I did that for a client, and I even added like a light in the head and stuff like that. So I'll be doing more of those. I plan on having a bunch of those for sale. But I do want to make the Siva one because actually I want to make it for a voice actor, the one that voice acts Shelly, because his ghost is the Siva ghost. I want to like gift it for him for Christmas because he's so awesome.
Yeah, those
but
vinyl
yeah,
ghosts are amazing.
Oh yeah, they're great. You know what's cool? Like remember the Amazon the Echo Ghost?
Yep, the Dread Explorer one.
Yeah, well, they're like $9.99 on Amazon right now, right? So they're actually cheaper than buying the vinyl one. So I actually stocked up like of 5 of them because like I have Prime, so I can use the Amazon warehouse. So I got them for like $7.99 or something.
Nice.
And so I'll be modding those too. Like, yeah, they're like $100-something when they came out, but now they're like half the price of the stupid vinyl ones. So I'm like, I'm gonna stock up on these too. Like I have like 10 ghosts right now in my shop, like 5 vinyl, 5 Amazon ones. So
well, the nice one about the Amazon one is they have the built-in slot for the LED thing. If I remember, like where the vinyl one, you would have to kind of machine one in.
And that's what I did. I machined out the middle, and then I just really cheaply put like a Harbor Freight flashlight in the middle, and that was it. Like that was all I needed, But yeah, I haven't really messed with the Amazon Echo one yet, but I want to see. The thing that sucks about the Echo one is it doesn't really have like a stand, whereas the vinyl one has like a clear rod, so it looks like it's floating.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I'd have to make something for that, or nothing at all if someone just wants to have it on their desk or whatever. But
I know somebody who wants to have just the ghost on his desk, and he spent about 3 hours trying to cut away that silly pipe that comes out of it.
My ghost does just sit on the desk, and I will take your judgment and ignore it.
That's what he spent his evening at Guardian Con doing.
I also spent my what was that, Friday night at Guardian Con tearing apart stuff.
Yeah, but speaking of like tearing apart stuff, and Blue had a lot of trouble with getting that one little pipe out because it was like glued in.
It was like, it was in there. It was in there very well. Whoever makes that vinyl ghost, A+ on on securing that base.
Yeah, they're pretty sturdy.
Was there anything that you've made that just didn't turn out the way you wanted and you had to kind of scrap it, or have you been able to salvage most of the stuff you've made?
No, I've been able to salvage most of the stuff I've made. Sometimes I think more because I do custom figures too. I think the most like issue I had with like something like where I had to like either chuck it or just do something with it was like way back in the day when I started like making custom figures, like for whatever reason, these like 3 clone troopers I did, the paint just like did not dry whatsoever. And I was like, I'm gonna chuck these or what? I decided just to like kill them and like just like put dirt and like black paint all over them and just have them like dead in the background somewhere. But so they did not come out how I wanted to, but I ended up salvaging them in a way. But as far as props go, no, everything I've kind of like was like, yeah, I can use this for this. I've been able to make it work. Even if it didn't come out like 100% how I wanted, I still was like, I finished it, and I'm like, you know what? As long as it looks like what it's supposed to look like, sometimes you just have to like just move on and like not stress too much about it, because then you end up making it worse if you do that.
Right.
Try and overfix something, you know?
Nice. So, all those different builds that you've had so far, you haven't done anything from D2 yet.
No.
Is there something that you want to do from D2?
I want to do the Sunshot I thought of doing. Trying to figure out how to do that. Gun. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I'm trying to think. What do I like in D2? Someone wanted me to make a sleeper, and I was like, that's a. I mean, I'm like, that's a bit difficult. Like, I would like to attempt it at some point. I don't know if right now would be a good time to attempt it, because I have other things, but that would be something cool to make.
I have that such hatred right now for sleeper.
Oh man,
the Gambit and everything.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, no, sleeper. I'm gonna have nightmares about that gun still for a while, and I get it. I can't even use it. I use it in like PvE, but God, I can't use it.
I cannot. The few times I've played Gambit like solo, I drive myself crazy. I have to go with my team, or else I don't play Gambit. Oh yeah. Because like if I play with my team, we're on a streak the whole night. If I go by myself and I get randos, I'm like yelling at the screen.
But... Yeah. Oh God, Gambit. Gambit's so much fun though.
It is. Yeah, it is.
So before the show, we talked a little bit about your Jon Snow cosplay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
That one, as far as like putting it together, it doesn't look like too difficult as far as the costuming goes. But the two things I want to know more about is the little bit. There's a little bit of makeup you do for that. Yeah. I saw, and then also the fur. What did you use to do the fur like cloak type thing that he has going on?
So just real quick, that cosplay I did not make. That was like a last minute thing. I bought that off of Amazon, and then my plan for that is to upgrade it, because it's like the buckles are horrible, the straps suck, the fur cape is okay, but it's one of those things that like last minute I was like, you know what, like everybody's been bugging me like, yo, do Jon Snow. I was like, okay, fine. So I did that. I wore my Kylo Ren boots with it, though, because I wasn't going to buy new boots. Right. But, like, that's another thing I want to do eventually, Kylo Ren.
That would be cool.
Yeah, but I'd have to shave my beard. I'm like, that look like a 12-year-old cosplaying as Kylo Ren. Like, I want to shave my beard. But yeah, but the scar... And it's really simple, and I'd never really done anything like that before, so I did watch a couple videos. I went to Halloween City. I bought like a scar kit or whatever, and I think the main thing with those is like the scar comes in like a rectangle almost, like if you imagine like a rectangle, like a piece of tape, and then the scar is in the middle of the tape. And the thing that a lot of people don't forget to do is to cut that excess tape or whatever material is out of it. So then you just have that little scar, like little, and then you have the adhesive or whatever it is on the back of it. So I did that, and then I cut it in half, and I even went so far as to cut a part of my eyebrow, so that the scar would go through my eyebrow, and then part of my beard too. I even cut into it a bit so that the scar, when it came down, looked like it was even going into my beard too. So that was really it. It wasn't anything crazy. Nice. Or anything like that. So I can't take like too much credit for it. But it just looked good. I did win my company's like Halloween contest, which was cool. And it was weird because like I work in an insurance company, so I work in a big building, and
right.
Like now people I don't even know from like other floors, like, hey, Jon Snow. I'm like, hi, I don't know who you are, but hi. Or like. Because and as a joke, I put my work Skype as one of my Jon Snow pictures, and like so I'll be like Skyping a property or auto adjuster, like, hey, this claim, blah blah blah, and they're like, hey, Mr. Snow, how are you doing? I'm like, hi. Seriously, the claim though, you know.
But seriously, work.
Yeah, like, you know, this person had an auto accident, you know, they hit a tree or something. No, but yeah, so it's kind of funny now at work. It's like I have like, I don't want to say a fan club, but like girls I don't know like talk to me now. It's weird.
It's a hard life
Seems
you live.
Beneficial.
Yeah, right. Well, it's not even good.
Yeah, no. If there's a cosplay that you haven't done yet or haven't made yet, but you want to make, Destiny or whatever, which one would you choose? Like, if you could shoot the moon, regardless of skill or time or money, what would you choose to do?
I've always wanted to do a really, really awesome Mandalorian armor, and one of my goals is to make one for so I can join the Mandalorian Mercs, which is basically like the 501st, but for Mandalorian cosplayers.
Nice.
And they do the same thing. They do charities. They go to hospitals. They do all these cool things. So that is one of like my kind of like premier goals in cosplay is to their requirements, just like 501st, are super strict. Like I can't even use foam for their cosplay. For the most part, they have some divisions, like Old Republic divisions, that use foam because the armor is a bit different than the plated one you see in the movie. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it's material I don't even work with at the moment. So that's like my main like premier thing I want to do. And then just in general, I was wanting to do something again, Star Wars. I want to do like a smuggler, but like a Cad Bane smuggler almost, but like a human. So I've been like kind of collecting stuff for that. Wish is like a really cool website for like cheap clothes and like cheap cool stuff.
Nice.
So like you can buy like weird like jackets and stuff and like use that as like a starting point for something. So I plan to like there's a couple coats I've been eyeing on Wish, like $10, but they look kind of like cowboy dusters, but like kind of more modern. So I want to do something like that. And then I haven't done anything anime. Well, I did Saint Armor recently, but I want to do something anime in the future. I don't know what I want to do yet, but my first cosplay I ever did was MegaCon 2014, I think. Mm-hmm. And like I never did cosplay before. I never even celebrated Halloween until like 2 years ago. Because fun fact, my father's Jehovah's Witness. They don't celebrate Halloween. Right. And so as a kid, even though I wasn't necessarily Jehovah's Witness, like I still didn't celebrate Halloween. So I never even dressed up until I was an adult, right? So like we're in MegaCon, and like I love Bleach. Like the movie came out. Have you guys seen the movie on Netflix?
Nope, I refuse.
It's amazing. It is the best.
Is it?
It is the best anime. And then I know it's not saying much because there's not many good ones, but it is the best live-action anime adaptation I have ever seen. And the thing, and we'll get off topic, is I want to gush about it. The thing I love about it is that they got the characters like spot on. They got the looks right. They made the hollows look realistic, but not too different than how they look. And they basically did the first arc, the substitute arc.
Right.
But it's cool, and I like it a lot because my biggest pet peeve about those movies is I hate sequel baiting. I hate it so much. This movie had a story it wanted to tell. It finished the story at the end. It had the ending, and it was a definitive ending. And then at the very end, there was just like a little tiny like, maybe there'll be a sequel. But like, if there's not, it's cool because the story ended, and it was a good, it was really good. I really liked it, and I watched it twice.
Check it out then.
I watched
after it after the Death Note debacle. I was just like, no.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a Japanese, thing, so it's not.
Fair,
the Japanese Death Note movie was good. The American one, I refuse to watch the American one. I'll probably have to watch it at some point because I got a curiosity. But and I hear they're making another one. And I'm just like, oh. It's like how I had to watch Dragon Ball Evolution, even though I knew it was trash.
Where's Beard when we need him?
I know, right? Like, So my first cosplay was at MegaCon 2014. I love Aizen. Like, he's my favorite character in Bleach. The moment he turned on everybody was like the most shocking thing to me. And like, I had my hair long back then too. I go through different hairstyles, but so I bought a Sosuke Aizen cosplay from a booth, and I even bought his sword at the convention too. I found somebody that had his sword, which was cool. So I kind of want to do something. I don't know if I want to do Bleach related. I kind of want to do like Mayuri Kuratsuchi. I think that would be cool, like to do the face paint and like his weird hat.
Oh God.
First one that he had, yeah, something creepy like that. Yeah, so that was my first cosplay though. About 4 years ago, I did Aizen.
I was going to ask what kind of cons have you gone to? I know you've done Guardian Con, but where else could people find you for cosplay?
It depends. Like for example, right now I live in Orlando. There's Tampa MegaCons going on right now. I didn't go to that. I do plan on going to MegaCon next year in Orlando. I'll be going to Guardian Con in Tampa next year, of course. It just depends. Right now, I don't have like a plan of cons right now. MegaCon is like in Orlando is one. I feel like I always miss it, and I missed it this year too. So I plan on going next year, and I don't know what I'm going to do for that specifically yet. But right now, just in my calendar, I guess you could say, MegaCon Orlando next year, Guardian Con Tampa. I'm thinking of going to Star Wars Celebration, and I think it's in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I might do that. I don't know. If I do, I'll announce it on Twitter and everything. But I've never been to Chicago before, so I'm kind of thinking of doing it. But we'll see. That's nice. I think it's in April. I think.
Nice. So we've talked a little bit about the cosplay. We've talked a little bit about the machinima. I want to talk just a little bit about your custom builds of the little characters that you've done, like the Mega Block builds that you've done.
Oh yeah, action figures and stuff. Yeah,
the Atheon is really cool.
Yeah, I love the Destiny Mega Block stuff. I have almost every set. I just I wanted to get into like Star Wars Legos because I love Star Wars, but it's so expensive.
Right.
And I already spent enough money on Star Wars stuff. So like Mega Blocks is actually pretty affordable compared to Legos. So I like it, and I prefer the Mega Blocks figures better than the Lego ones. They look much better. But yeah, so Atheon, I've been wanting to do more custom Mega Block stuff. But yeah, I thought Atheon was like way too short.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought 2 Atheon sets, and I basically doubled Atheon up. I did like a Power Rangers like my creature grow type thing, and I made Atheon like twice the size. It looks like he's supposed to. And I plan on doing like a little diorama, like a little Vault of Glass diorama kind of thing.
Nice.
But yeah, I started making custom figures in high school, which was around the time Revenge of the Sith came out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of like custom clone troopers at the time. Like people were making these crazy like urban commando clones, stuff like that.
Right.
And I just thought that was like the coolest thing. So I started making custom figures, and I stopped for a little bit after high school. And then since doing the YouTube again a couple years ago, I've been doing them again. And so I've done like Mandalorians. I've done, I did a Destiny figure for my friend before the Destiny figures even came out. I did a Trials of Osiris Guardian for him. That's on the YouTube channel. I've done like anime stuff. Like I've done a Desert Punk figures. I love Desert Punk. What else have I done? I have plans to do others. Like I have like a board in my shop of like custom ideas that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do them. I haven't done them recently, but I plan to do some more in the like next coming months.
So how did this all start? Like what got you interested in doing all the customization, or how did you even I asked about the machinima, but I really didn't ask about why you decided to start building things for the props or the cosplay or anything like that. Like, was there a D&D role play kind of game, or was it just like, hey, this is kind of cool and I like building things?
Yeah, the second one, like I said, when I was in high school, Revenge of the Sith just came out, and everybody was making like you couldn't like go like a click without seeing like a custom clone trooper on like I'm trying to think of custom figure websites. I can't think of any right now, but they were just all over the place, especially on eBay. There was just pages and pages and pages of like custom clone troopers, and I just thought they were so cool. And I'd always like, I think I mentioned at the start of the podcast, like creativity kind of like runs my life. And I've always, as a kid, I always drew. I would nonstop draw things. I got into writing as I got older. I love good stories and anything creative. That's why I love anime. I like video games, Star Wars, stuff like that. So like, I always built stuff as a kid. Like, I didn't really use Legos as a kid. I played with. No one remembers these but me. They're called constructs.
Yes.
Yeah, and they had like astronaut, like space themed ones. They're really cool. They don't make them anymore, and they're really pretty expensive now if you find them on eBay. Like, to get them. But I always built stuff, and like the custom figures thing was like the next level of that. And then again, as I got older, then I was like, I want to start making props. Like, I think I could do that. And then I did that, and then I was like, I want to. And then like I said, I went to GuardianCon last year, and we had such a good response for the Destiny props. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try and make an armor, and then the armor this year. And then I also I always done graphics and video editing, so I actually have a degree in animation. And I showed you guys the Destiny shirts that we sell, so I made all those shirts. Like, anything creative at all, like, I'm just all over it most of the time. Like, that's my thing. Even like in my house or like cars I've owned, I always customize something about it. Or like I said, in my house I have a shop, so I've like customized the out of it for that purpose. And I'm always like thinking like in the video I did recently, the Saiyan armor video. In the background, you see my entertainment center. It's just loaded with like play arts figures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the entertainment center is like I got it from a neighbor that was storing it out, and I plan to like take it apart and like repaint it and stuff like that. So like anything I can like make better and
upgrade to your own stuff.
To my own style is like that's my thing. I got that from my dad, I think, because my dad's always like even now he's like semi-retired. But he basically, if you guys ever watch American Pickers, that's kind of like what my dad does.
Nice.
And he picks, he fixes, and he sells. And so I've always been, from a young age, like taking something that's people throw out and making into something people want, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a part of it. Because I actually have an eBay store too, where I do the same. Like I buy and sell figures and all kind of geeky, cool.
Nice.
So yeah, that's always kind of been in my life.
That's awesome. I've got one final question for you before we start to wrap up the show. And if somebody wanted to get involved with machinima or with prop making and cosplay and stuff like that, who would you suggest they look at, or like how would one go about it? Because you, like you said at the beginning, there's no school, there's no layout for that kind of thing. So how would you suggest somebody gets involved with kind of becoming like that, being able to create things like that?
I mean, really, the main thing is, in my opinion, is go on YouTube, like, think of something in your imagination that you want to build, like, let's say, Mandalorian armor. Look that up and see if you can find a decent, I don't even necessarily say reputable, because not all, people have tons of talent that don't get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but look up somebody that you find that makes, I would say, well thought out videos on how they make things, and kind of just see what they're doing, use that as a basis, and then just start picking from other places and get your own style going. And then also, if you like a cosplayer or a prop maker that has like an ebook or something, I would recommend, buying that for yourself to get your own skills up. Two, if you enjoy the person, you're supporting them by buying the ebook. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I have my own people that I respect and aspire. Like I said, Evil Ted, Punish Props, Kamui Cosplay. I've been watching recently, and like her recent, she's doing a Monster Hunter armor right now, and that thing just like blew my mind. The amount of detail, and it's insane. Like I got like emotional. Like it's weird when I say that. Like you got emotional watching like a cosplay. Yes, I did, because like it's so intricate and so much time, and it just looks insanely amazing. I'm like, that is the kind of stuff I want to do eventually. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. For machinima, that's a hard one. I really make. There's not many videos on how to make machinima. I think in Destiny, in Destiny community, there's a YouTuber that makes videos on how to make machinima, and I can't think of his name right now, but it's really like one of the only people that does like, here's a tutorial on how to like remove your gun, and here's a tutorial on like scene and lighting and stuff like that in Destiny. But there's not many videos like that. So really, my first couple episodes was like super trial and error, and like I said, Digital Curse was nice enough to like reply to my comments on stuff.
Right.
But I really, it's one of those things that you have to just do, and then as you continue to do it, you get your own rhythm, you get your own style. Like the way I make machinima is different than the way Digital Curse makes machinima. It's also different from the way Tempest Knight makes machinima, and you just have to see what works for you and go with that. So machinima is like you have to try it and do it, and then you get your own like style, and you kind of get a good process going. That's the for that is the main thing I can say. You just have to just do it like Nike, do it.
Nice.
The best way to begin is begin.
Just trial and error, a lot of that kind of stuff. That's awesome. Well, I really want to thank you for coming onto the show and just kind of sharing that with us, because it wasn't Lord of Wolves. It was the potato gun. Oh my God.
Drake's Promise.
Drake's Promise. I got to handle the prop that you made.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is freaking cool. Like, I love it.
I think I have a picture of you with it.
Like we did the Charlie's Angels pose.
Yes, that's right. Yes, we did. Yeah, I have that picture.
That was great. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and like for sharing that kind of stuff with us. Because I always talk real big. Like, I'd love to cosplay. I'd love to try doing that kind of stuff. But I am so terrible at actually starting to do any of that kind of stuff, and just even putting things together. It's like, okay, I don't even know how to analyze a piece of armor to figure out, okay, this is what I need or whatnot. It's pretty awesome that
honestly, that's the hardest part, is looking at something like reference material and like, okay, how do I make this? How does this shape? Where does this? That's my hardest thing. It's like I feel like my depth perception is trash, and I'm like looking. I'm like, okay, is this like going in the armor? Is it coming out? Or like, how is the shape? So that's putting that together is hard. Like, learning how to template things is like the best thing you could do as a cosplayer, is figure out how to break 3D objects down into 2D so you can make templates to just bang out your armor. Like, that's honestly probably the best advice I can give a new cosplayer maker is get good at making templates and breaking down 3D objects so you can make them into foam or whatever material you're using. This is going to make your life 1,000% easier, making cosplay.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Blue, do you have any like final questions or anything?
Nope. I think we got all of the ones that I generally see. So, like I said, again, we'll definitely be putting all the links. And I know, Zeon, I know you had mentioned you guys have a Discord for the machinima stuff. Is that open to everyone, or is that like how talking about asking like places to ask for help and stuff?
Yeah, the Destiny Machinima Discord's open for everybody. I'm one of the moderators on it because I'm one of the 3 main writers of the Destiny Machinima universe. But yeah, it's open to everyone. It's not just machinima, but definitely if you need help making machinima, or if you need voice actors, body actors, we have auditions that you can host. But also there's lore channels, there's a meme channel, there's looking for group channels. All kind of stuff. YouTube channels, you can post your own content there if you want. But yeah, it's open to everybody. Anyone can join the Destiny Machinima Discord. I need PS4 people.
Totally.
I need slaves. I mean body actors for Team Million.
Well, and I was just thinking, definitely, the best thing, because I know when we talk with Mel, who's Wind of the Stars, and she's, that's kind of one of her things, is she's starting to really get into like the coaching of cosplaying and stuff like that. Well, she always has been, but she's really kind of doubling down on that. And I know that's one of the big things, is just getting people connected with other people is a huge hurdle. especially in today's age and, or today's world. It's really kind of interesting. The internet does all this amazing stuff, but for as much as it brings people together, it also kind of seems to throw people a far distance away from each other. So getting those Discord channels or those Twitter handles and stuff like that. And like I said, we'll definitely get all those in the show notes for this episode. If you guys are, listening on iTunes or anything like that, check out the website. That's where we post all the show notes. And again, we'll get all the appropriate links over there set up. Zeon, do you have any shout outs that you have or that you wanted to make before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I have to kind of promote my other fellow writers in the Destiny Machinima universe. So if you guys, want to see something lore-driven in Destiny as far as the Machinima goes, I really recommend you guys going to Tempest Knight's channel and checking out his 2 series, Rift and From the Ashes. And then also, of course, I have to shout out to Daddy Digital Curse, who started this whole thing. If you want to see something kind of Red versus Blue-esque, definitely check out Digital Curse and Fireteam Weasel. And at the same token, because my show is very similar, if you want to see something Red versus Blue-esque with a good Guardian Ghost dynamic, definitely check out my show Team Titan on my channel.
Awesome. And Zeon, if you can shoot me over the links for those other content creators, we'll get them up in the show notes as well for people.
For sure.
That way we'll definitely make sure to help kind of make the transition a bit easier for everyone who might have interest there. Green, how about you? Do you have any shout outs?
Shout outs and heart goes out to any of the content creators who are out there in general. Just we talk about content creators from the video standpoint, making YouTube videos, tutorials, stuff like that. But we don't really talk about the people who do the prop making, the cosplays and stuff like that kind of thing. And those are kind of like the unheard or unsung heroes. We were talking before the show about the guy who made the Titan cosplay of the Trials of Osiris back 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the Hunter cosplayers and stuff like that. And it's awesome that you guys devote time to doing that, so we can. I'm sure it's a blast for you guys to do it, but it's also so much fun for us who are not dressed up like that or don't have the talent or the time to be able to put something like that together, to be able to see and interact essentially with a Guardian, bring them to life. And my heart goes out to all of you guys, because it's kind of. You work tirelessly, there we go, there's the word, for so many hours to build this, to do a weekend-long con.
Yeah.
And then it goes away for another year, or it gets upgraded for the next year.
Exactly.
So that is my shout-out, is to any of those content creators who do that kind of thing, because it's awesome, and I don't think it's really focused on a whole lot within the community like it should be. Blue.
All right. Well, with that, we'll begin to wrap the chat up. I just wanted to remind everyone, if you'd like to join us for the live streaming of the normal episodes, please be sure to give us a follow over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. Links to all our episode archives can be found at www.focusfirechat.com. Thank you again, Zeon, for joining in the conversation. Like I said, I'll be sure to get your contact information up in our show notes for anyone who wants to continue chatting with you and, reviewing your content. Please be sure to email us at focusfirechat@gmail.com with any comments or questions for our team concerning the podcast, and let us know by giving us some feedback over on iTunes as well. Also, be sure to check out all our amazing partner podcasts within the Guardian Radio Network over on focusfirechat.com. So until next time, focus your fire and may your light shine bright.